minutes. Knight to f3. Hikaru must win. And look at how Magnus adjusts all his pieces. It's amazing. He has 7 minutes in this game. The increment of 1 second per move starts from move number 40. g6 played. And Hikaru now thinks about what he should be playing here. He goes pawn to d4. Bishop comes out to g7. And we are looking at a very symmetrical line, which Magnus is happy to play because a draw will be enough for him. Black castles, pawn to c4, and now c6 played here. Hikaru brings his queen out. It's a well-known theory. There are many lines which are interesting. You can take the pawn, you can play a5. Magnus decides to take, Hikaru takes back. Bishop comes out to f5. And now Hikaru just looking on the side. Whenever he looks on the side, it's clear that he's trying to recollect his preparation. He brings his knight out to c3. Knight comes out to d7 here. And Magnus keeping a steady edge on the clock. Now you can see Hikaru thought a lot for this move. Bishop f4. Knight b6 comes in, attacking the queen. The queen moves back. And now a5, a4 is a normal move. He goes knight f d5. And Hikaru plays his bishop to e5. Winning from this position against Magnus is super difficult. Takes on c3, pawn takes. And now a very good idea can be bishop e6 to just clamp down on the light squares. He goes bishop e4. And Hikaru here plays bishop takes bishop, king takes, and rook to c1. His idea is if you go bishop d5, he may want to play c4. But c5 played here by Magnus instantly takes. Knight d7. Queen comes up to defend the pawn on c5. And now knight f6 because the bishop was also hanging. So white is a pawn up. Bishop h3. An interesting move. Stopping the rook from coming to c8. Queen comes up to c7. That's a nice move by Magnus. Knight d4. You can see the idea of bishop coming out. The knight also could move without the trade of the bishops. And a lovely pawn sacrifice here, b6. Very typical of the Zamish variation in the Nimzo Indian. Now you can see the rook opens up. And in spite of being pawned down, black has excellent compensation. Hikaru plays queen b2, presses the clock. He goes down on time behind Magnus now. And rook a4. And this is not a good sign for Hikaru because bishop e6, that's a nice move here because if you take knight e6 and the queen is hanging, so rook a5 played by Magnus. And now this a2 pawn is defended. The bishop is here, but the king is lonely. And Magnus attacks the knight. The knight goes back. And do you want to go h5, h4? Yes, he plays h5. There's now going to be an attack against the white king. The rook could come here. And Hikaru has to be very careful. He's already below the clock. Then Magnus, his position is tough. Magnus firmly in the driver's seat in this Armageddon game. You can see from Hikaru's expression, he's unhappy here. He's not sure if he will be able to beat Magnus. He goes h4. That's not a great move because queen c8, queen h3, and Magnus would have amazing attacking chances. And if Magnus plays here queen c8, queen d7, these moves, he should be having absolutely no problem. But he goes knight g4. And maybe not the best move. But he has this plan of perhaps f5, f4 in his mind to just completely attack the white king. And Hikaru now begins to think less than 2 minutes 30 seconds for him on the clock. f3 doesn't really work because of bishop c2. He goes knight a3. He's coming to c4 via this square, but f5, f4 is just so fast. Like knight c, for example, f5, knight c4. And here you can already start, give up the rook here, and it's going to be a completely mating attack. But Magnus goes g5. Whoa. Magnus like, if you take here, I'm going h4, opening up the position. But Hikaru comes knight c4. 2 minutes 14 seconds for Hikaru, 2 minutes 59 seconds for Magnus Carlsen. The rook is hanging, the pawn is attacked here. And so many options. Firstly, you could save your rook here. That's possible. Second is you can take on h4. Because now if you take on a5, then hg3, and already the white king is being ripped to shreds here. So Magnus has to make this decision here. And he takes. That's an excellent move. The only move for Hikaru to stay in the game is queen d2 with the idea of queen g5 check. smiling there. I mean, taking back would be just brutal because that opens up the king. Just king h8, rook g8 is finito. So f3 played, and that's also a mistake. Now look at the clock timings. Hikaru 1 minute 55, Magnus 2 minutes 23 seconds. Queen c5 check is an amazing move here. Why? Because after queen c5, you can't block the check with the pawn. It's just gonna be taken. So king g2 is possible here, which is met with b5, or king h1 is also possible. And so these are the possibilities, but queen c5 has to be played. And Magnus is calculating. It's not easy because hg3 is also possible. Now taking here would be a mistake completely. Queen e7, queen h4, and it would be a mate. But fe4 is possible. And once you take out this bishop, not so easy. He gives a check. Good move by Magnus. Checking the king. King moves to the side of the board. King h1. And you can see that right now we are showing you every single second of the game. The amount of time being taken by each player. Magnus has 1 minute 36 seconds. Hikaru 1 minute 51 seconds. Now the way to win this position is rook a6. Because if you take here, I'll go b5. Now you can't come here. The knight and queen are looking. So let's say you go knight d2. Now I take hg3. And now the rook will transfer here. The h and g pawns are super strong. The knight is well placed. But look at the clock timings now, guys. Magnus, from 1 minute 36 seconds, has started to think a lot. And look at Hikaru. He's feeling the confidence. Magnus is like, I can sense the win here, but I can't spot it. And that is not good. And Magnus shakes out from his trance. He's like, I need to make a move. Come on. I'm going down on time. He's almost down to 30 seconds. You can't be making so many moves. He has to make 11 more moves. Whoa! Magnus, go for it. Bishop a8 with just 24 seconds left, and Magnus looks up at the board. How many moves are left? Well, he has to make 11 more moves here. That's how difficult it is. And Hikaru now sensing he has the opportunity, and Magnus like, what the hell am I doing here? Hikaru takes the knight, rook, pawn takes. And now actually queen d2 is a very strong move. e4 played by Hikaru, h takes g3 by Magnus. You can't take the knight. Bishop takes e4 check. Hikaru 1 minute 24 seconds, Magnus 21 seconds. Can Magnus Carlsen wriggle out of this? Can he hold a draw? He looks up at the board again. 31 moves done, 9 more to do. Bishop d5 played. He takes, pawn takes, plays his knight to e3. Fantastic chess. Rook is attacked. He plays rook g1, h4, pawn to c4. Attacking this, f6 is a good move, but goes queen d4. Trades the queen. Hikaru waits. Oh, he was going to take. Now takes, pawn takes. Pawn pushes to d6. King f6 was the winning move, but rook b8, and now suddenly the game is drawn. Rook b1, great move by Hikaru. 47 seconds for him, 13 for Magnus. Rook d8, c5, king comes up, but now it's winning. c6 is a beautiful move. Yes, he finds it. Rook takes d6, c7. Rook comes here. Hikaru takes the queen. I believe he wants to play rook b6, but then notices that rook takes b6 queen. Rook b2 is a draw. Look at this line. That's incredible line. Here, rook b2, it's a draw. So basically, he finds this amazing move. Knight comes back. And now an amazing rook b6. You can't take with the knight. Rook takes. If rook takes now, there's a queen. And Hikaru wins. Magnus resigns. What a game. What a finish this was. Hikaru Nakamura showing some amazing tactical awareness in those final moments of the game. And Magnus Carlsen, I think, just did not manage his time so well. He had a